But right now, we have new information breaking about the Nancy Guthrie disappearance case in Tucson, Arizona. Of course, she's the 84-year-old mother of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie, who's been posting emotional videos on Instagram, and now the family offering a $1 million reward in this case that has now dragged into an entire month. I'm going to bring in right now an expert on this issue and law enforcement, David Sarni, retired NYPD. Thank you so much for joining us this evening on Newsroom Live. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, wow, this case. Let's talk about the new development. Our Fox News Digital was able to obtain these images of 12 cars between midnight and 6 a.m., including some cars at 2:30 when her pacemaker unsynced from her Apple Watch or iPhone, indicating perhaps that was when she was taken out. And then when she was taken out of her house, David, it's really, shocking that we haven't been given these images by the sheriff's department, 4 weeks ago, say. I understand that these images were taken maybe about 2 miles from her house, but what do you make of this?
Yeah, thanks for having me again. The situation was this: when they started the canvas, the extended video canvas, they went about a mile and a half. So when they went that mile and a half, this video was not obtained by the sheriff's office or even put in the depository because they never asked for anything fat past that 1.5 mile mark. So this was about 2 miles away. And the benefit was, I mean, the good thing is that the person who had this video notified, the police, notified the sheriff's office, FBI and sheriff went to the house. They obtained the video, and as you can see, there's a timestamp on it. You've seen several vehicles go within a particular time frame. There are people out there already trying to identify the vehicles at this time. I always tell people wait until the experts do that, because I know we'll have experts identify what vehicles were there or what type of vehicles. We cannot even determine whether or not those vehicles that were located on that camera connect to the house yet. So that's the thing we're looking at.
Hmm.
Is this a good lead? Absolutely. It's better than we've had so far. The glove, we found out we don't have anything really valuable of value on the glove yet. This is something that may be valuable to find out how they abducted Nancy and took her away.
Yeah, it's really incredible that we are almost 1 month into her disappearance in the middle of the night, pulled out of her bed. I mean, it's really just shocking. Yeah, now we're looking at images of her house. I want to ask you about this $1 million reward that was somewhat new this week. How will that get someone to come forward with information, and why didn't they do it sooner?
Well, you're hoping that, and from my understanding, is the Guthrie family was told by the sheriff's department not to
Mm.
put out money for it because it would have added to more leads. They were thinking they get their leads as organic as possible, meaning you have people who actually care enough that don't worry about the money. But now, at this point in this juncture in time, we have to look for bad actors. So with these bad actors who may have information, because remember, one note was sent to TMZ asking for Bitcoin for information. Now they've upped the ante and upped that reward to over $1 million. Maybe that will have those bad actors who may have been tertiarily involved, who don't want to get arrested, may be involved in this and get those tips. And apparently, about 1,000 or so tips have come in since that reward is put out. And not only that, you're dealing with video footage. Apparently, they have almost 10,000 hours worth of video that has been put in the depository. This video they obtained is pretty new, and they didn't have it. So you're seeing a lot of changes with the dynamic of the investigation. It's now expanded even further than the 1.5 mile area to 2 miles, maybe go a little farther than that. The FBI has moved most of their work to the outside offices, I think to Phoenix. They're still doing the dynamic technical aspect, but you have to realize the sheriff's office is the resources are limited. So
Yeah.
it takes time to get these things done.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why people are so frustrated that more progress hasn't been made, especially after we got that big break of the image, of the bad guy that they're looking for, that appears to have been trying to break into her house the night that she disappeared. What happens next in this case? Because we also got reports today that the feds, the FBI, and the sheriff's department may be ready to turn the crime scene back over to the family, to the house. So does that mean a stall in the case? I mean, it's really alarming, especially for those who knew her.
Yeah, with the issue of the crime scene, and they was it an issue about releasing it too early already and having the media go to it. I'm the detective. I don't release a scene until I feel comfortable that we have everything, and I mean everything, top to bottom, from rooftop down to wherever you got to go into that house. That's one thing. They've been there for over 3.5 weeks. Hopefully, if we obtained enough evidence, and I don't know how they got any evidence from that house. We don't really know what they obtained. Everyone's like, we get DNA, DNA. Understand this: DNA is invisible to the eye. So when you talk about DNA retrieval, you're talking about places where contact was made by somebody. And in that house, was there anything outstanding in the contact, the abduction of Nancy Guthrie, that would have had someone leave something behind? And that's why that video footage of the suspect who did the abduction, who's what you see, he's trying to avoid as much forensic evidence to be left, namely fingerprints, DNA, wearing a ski mask. And you've also saw the other footage where you saw someone in similar appearance without that backpack. We don't know the date and time. I hope that the feds and the sheriff's office have a date and time for that individual, because that then can help tie in the vehicles that are seen on the video and maybe find vehicles similar to vehicles that went through around that location, because you had to leave there somehow. You had to come back there somehow. So that's something you're going to look at too, to see if you can identify vehicles that are leaving that day that the viewer, or at least that witness, in a sense, the ear witness, visual witness, got that video. Now you're trying to compare it to any other videos you have. And that's why you extend the canvas. The house, if you've got everything out of the house that you can, if you are comfortable and confident that happened, then you can release the scene. That's really what it comes down to. And I believe that wholeheartedly, that you only release it when you're ready to do that.
Yeah, it's really such a shame that they haven't been able to find her before now, and you can just see the devastation in the Guthrie family's posts about this. Where do we go from here? If they do give the house back, is that a sign that they're scaling back the investigation, or they'll pursue it to the ends?
Well, you've worked as much as you can for that scene. If it was an abduction, you've done the canvas, you've done the search in that area. If there's nothing else left at that location to follow up on, then if you want to move on from that, that's fine. We do that all the time. We have murder investigations in New York. We may hold the scene 2 or 3 days. Outdoor scenes are a little more difficult to hold, but an indoor scene, they've had it for 3.5 weeks. You've had many people, you had the media go into it earlier, so it's already, that issue in itself is a problem, because then you go back to try to recover evidence that could be contaminated. There's going to be an issue with that maybe later on in the prosecution part. But you're looking at, where did they go? I call it the post incident. And that's why the concern is, was this a targeted location? And based on what the video footage we have on the set, on the prior time
Yep.
that this suspect was there, or a suspect was there, we see it being targeted. So they had to have figured out how to get there. And from my understanding, Tucson is the nighttime in Tucson, or that area, is pitch black.
Right. Light
So
pollution
they
there.
have
They want to keep it that way so they can see the stars, obviously. Yeah, David Sarni, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And maybe you'll come back when we have a good result, a good outcome from this devastating story.
Yeah, thank you very much. Stay safe, and hopefully bring Nancy home.